Welcome. You know, if you look inside yourself to see what is it that brings you here day after day, week after week, year after year, what is the pull that pulls you to be here? Just to simply feel what this is. What is that pull? Where is it located? If it is something that can be described, this is not what is being pointed to. But if it is this indescribable passion that is felt within, of which the closest descriptor is the pull of love, that is felt in the heart, that is the heart of all of us. When we come together, we have the opportunity to feel the union of what perception has called separation. And this pull for union is the completion. What is it the completion of? It is the completion of the soul's journey. It sounds so simple, and in truth it is the simplest thing. But is it experience that's so complex in this life often? And the complexity is due to the mind machine. The greatest possibility with the mind machine is that every time it comes up, simply a kind self-reminder, not me. Perception, not me. The thing about it is so intermittent but consistent. And the intervals between the distractive tendencies is typically very, very brief. So most of the life is experienced that you are the mind body. But the thing about the feeling that pulls you here is that there is no rational reason. There is no rational reason why a moth will be drawn to the light of a flame and then burn into nothing. There is no rational reason why a mother bear would protect her cubs. It's not rational. It cannot be explained. There's no reason for explanation. It is not rational. It is the self, like this magnet. And no matter what is going on in the play, this must become secondary. The shift from primary to secondary is a very gradual, arduous journey for the common seeker. Because the more you taste the beauty, the more the play of distraction will intensify. This is the growing edge. And how it intensifies is by offering what the conditioning doesn't want. Or taking away what conditioning believes it needs. Because the character is the center point of the distractive habit, and the hypnosis that I am what is felt, what is seen, what is heard, what is changing, is so ingrained. But the pattern of hypnosis does not bring anything here. If you were to look at it from the mind's perspective, there is hearing the same words over and over again, over and over, over and over. And then there is going back to the life. And what sounded so simple and so ease-filled becomes a battle between distraction, where the mind brings up stories of failure and self-hatred, and then there is the taste, which is sublime. But that sublime taste is not someone's taste. For most common seekers, what is called sublime, it is beautiful, but it is someone's taste. And the conditioning doesn't want to let go of the someone. And what causes the letting go of someone, which is the liberation, it's like pregnancy. One is pulled by the heart to bear a child. But the process of separation from your idea to new birth is incredibly intense. There are these contractions, and they are so strong. And the closer it comes to the opening of liberation, the stronger the contractions are. And there is no contraction that is stronger than my survival. But the idea is to simply fall into the feeling that brings us all here. What is that? What is the feeling that brings us together? I can say it brings us together, but these are all concepts. It does not bring us together in space. It does not bring us together in time. It does not bring us together in form. The pull to be together is the pull of the feeling of being united as one in the heart that is locationless. And in this, each light allows that vibrancy to grow. And the feeling that pulls you here is of the greatest beauty. And it lives within you. It's always alive within you. You're in misery when you're not connected because it is clear that this is the pull. It's the pull. It's not that there are 10 different pulls and this is one of them, but this is the pull. One will recognize this if they are facing the possibility of the death of the body. Like with Beverly, it is such an accelerator of pointing the attention to what matters. To the mind, what matters the most is comfort for the mind body. To get out of pain and to feel pleasure. Pleasure, pain, opens and closes. Mind is always running after pleasure, trying to keep away pain. And what it does is it tries to hide this. Because this in the spiritual journey is not high. But we are not only divine, we are also human. The mind body will do what it does. When the physical form is in distress, the mind will be in distress. It has nothing to do with anyone. And the feeling that it's me will become so intensified. And it takes great humility to honor and recognize this. It's something we all share. The struggle of this journey is shared by all. But the thing is, what is the struggle in the journey? It is the fuel that is burning you free, separating you from illusion, just like pregnancy is allowing new birth by separating you from the fetus. This is certainly a process of birthing. And it is the most intense process to go through. And you are not alone if your mind is bouncing back and forth at times. You are not failing if you become distracted at times. The truth is you are never distracted. You never bounce back and forth. It's the setup of the program to draw the attention into a feeling of failure and stress. But the thing about it is when you have evolved to this level, when you feel your heart to this level, when you recognize the grace of humility to this level, nothing can stop it. Thank God. For this is why we are here. To be messengers of the truth, not in action, but in the being that you are. When you feel the being that you are, it becomes alive. And that feeling that becomes alive is not bound to this point of reference. That aliveness is equally everywhere. And it is not sometimes, it is the nature of the existence of the heart. So we come here to acknowledge what it takes for such a journey and to honor the beauty of this willingness, which is to carry out the greatest possibility as a being. And the pull to come here comes from that possibility. It comes from the magnetic pull of the self to itself. And the feeling of when that unites, it's always in truth united, but when it is felt, this is the taste of love. And out of love comes forth joy. And out of this joy, there is the birth of light. And the light ripples and spreads infinitely. It cannot be explained, it's so beautiful. It also cannot be explained how challenging it is for the mind-body. They are both true. The heart is the soldier of love. The soldier of love is the willingness to meet and face anything. It is not the mind's willingness to meet and face everything. The mind wants to run from anything that it interprets as uncomfortable. It wants to hide anything it interprets as flawed. It is important to recognize the nature of the ego is that it is insecure, fearful, and feels flawed. It is not a problem. This is the nature of the ego. Your mind says it's you. When it's going on, it feels so much like that's the truth. And then you open to it, and often, initially, those feelings will intensify. But once you really recognize what this is about, what you are about, then the willingness is unstoppable. Then the willingness is unstoppable. Then the taste of freedom is unstoppable. I heard it spoken that you can take my body, you can torture my body, you can take everything that is related to my body, but you cannot take my freedom. This was spoken from a slave. You cannot take my freedom. And for being such a heretic, he was tortured. And the torturing was to go on until he asked for mercy, took back what he said. And they would torture him and wait, and his body would be hardly able to move. And they would wait for him to say, "Give me mercy, please." But what would come out of him each time this happened was the scream, "Freedom, freedom." This is the screaming out for freedom. It is not a casual relationship. It is the wild passion of the heart. It dances on fire with passion for itself. If one wants to make progress and live a comfortable life, that's great. You get to come back and do it again, and it'll probably be a little easier. But if the hunger is for freedom, it is for freedom here and now. And whether the attention falls into the feeling of freedom or if it falls into the story of the mind, it's not up to someone. When it falls into the story of the mind, this is the beloved humbling the ego that wants to feel special. There is no one who is special. And if there is any tendency at all in the slightest degree to feel I am special, I am enlightened, you can be guaranteed something is going to come to break it apart. If the use of the language I am enlightened is the same as saying everything is enlightened, this is different. This is a recognition that has nothing to do with an individual. But if the story is I have woken up, I am free, to be very, very cautious, because the wisdom will not have it. The individual does not get into heaven. And getting into heaven takes the kind of resolve that this character, this slave, portrayed. When the feeling is, I will stop at nothing, then the feeling is we are the same. Because the I, where this is coming from, is the big I. The big I will stop at nothing. It will sacrifice everything. It will receive all the ego's pain, play it out so it comes up and receive it for the possibility of being united with its love, its child. For you are the child of God. This is the truth. Just feel into who you are. Just feel into what it is that pulls you here. What pulls you here? What is that feeling? This is the beauty. This is the beauty of what you are. Let the beauty of what you are shine and rip apart the construct of the separate me, not by force, but just constant, gentle self-reminding, constant, gentle self-reminding, coming back to the pull of the heart, coming back to the pull of the heart. And when the mind is miserable, just opening the heart space to this, realizing this is what God is offering to humble this ego. Okay, so let's take a few minutes just to let this sink in, to let the light of consciousness sink in to the feeling of unifying with itself everywhere. Thank you all for Satsang.